Thank you for joining me and taking the time to watch this video. Today we're going to talk a little bit about couples and deployment. This video is going to help target the pre-deployment process and helping us prepare for deployment with our partners or our spouses. So it doesn't matter if you're newlyweds, if you're new to the Navy, if you've been married 10 or 20 years, if this is your last deployment as a couple. Anywhere on the spectrum of military experience and marriage, this class can help you to navigate and help you prepare for the deployment ahead. So first I want to start out and have you look at these 10 different words and try to think of what these 10 words have in common. I'll give you a hint. It goes with the theme of this video. So you may be thinking, yes, these 10 characteristics, they are all together. They're how to have a successful deployment. They work hand in hand. So these different characteristics can help us in our lives and throughout this experience to also keep this connection with our partner and have a successful relationship while also being apart during a deployment. So our agenda today, we're going to cover 3 topics. We're going to talk about how to prepare for the emotions that occur due to deployment, the positive aspects of deployment, and deployment goals, both personal goals and goals you may have as a couple. So our first activity, we want you to take a moment and write down 3 things that you like about your partner. Now, don't share it with them. This is an individual exercise. So write down 3 things you like about your partner. 2 of the 3 things should be personality traits, and 1 of them can be a physical trait. So when you finish this, I want you to put it together or fold it up, put it aside, and we're going to revisit them later. The emotional cycle of deployment. Some of you may have heard of this, some of you may not, but these are just typical patterns that we've seen with a typical deployment cycle. So it's not just a journey, but there's also different stops or stages along the way. And you may experience some of these different stages and feelings throughout your deployment. So stage 1, anticipation of departure. Stage 2, detachment and withdrawal. Stage 3, emotional disorganization. Stage 4, recovery and stabilization. Stage 5, anticipation of return. Stage 6, return and renegotiation. And Stage 7, reintegration and stabilization. Now, because this video, we're targeting more of the pre-deployment, the weeks or months leading up to deployment, as well as a little bit after they've departed, we're just going to cover the first 3. So we're going to start with the anticipation of departure. So during this stage of tension and confusing emotions, arguing and bickering are common. These behaviors are often used as a protective mechanism to create emotional distance before having to separate. You may feel uneasy being away from each other and worry how being apart will change your relationship. So we like to show both how the family member could feel as well as the service member. And if you see, family members may be in denial, while service members could feel guilty that their job is taking them away from their families. So instead of creating this emotional distance, a more productive approach for us to use in deployment is to strengthen mutual trust. So we have to work on trust while we are together to fully trust our relationship when we're apart. So here's 4 tips for you. Respect each other. Talk about what respect means to each of you. Discussing these issues and how the other person feels will help you better understand each other. Be honest. Avoiding questions or being less than truthful with your partner is likely to raise suspicions. Demonstrate how important honesty is to you by always being truthful yourself. Express your love. Tell your partner why you love him or her, and don't take them for granted. This will help your partner feel more secure and trusting in your relationship. Discuss your concerns. If mistrust is causing anxiety for you or your partner, Talk honestly with each other about your feelings. So stage 2, detachment and withdrawal. During this stage, partners tend to stop sharing their thoughts and feelings. This is a natural response as separation is imminent. It's very common for service members to become even more psychologically prepared for deployment, focusing really on that mission and their command. This can be especially difficult if their partner sees this as rejection rather than as a reaction to trying circumstances. Often, the non deploying partner thinks, if you have to go, go. And the service members think, let's get on with it. So, a lot of times, the buildup of deployment, there's a lot of workup, a lot of things going on at work for our service members. So, they're honestly sometimes just ready to get the deployment started, get it over with so they can come home and be with their families. So, open and frequent communication will keep your relationship strong. Of course, communication is not always easy, especially when one partner is away for extended periods. So, here's some tips for us. Express your feelings. Before leaving, discuss your feelings about the deployment. Discuss the positive and challenging thoughts you have about the upcoming separation. Discuss expectations. Discuss your expectations during the deployment. These expectations can include a variety of issues, so freedom to make independent decisions, contact with the opposite sex, going out with friends, budgeting, child rearing, and even how often letters or care packages will be sent. Address change. Acknowledge that you may change when you are apart. The partner at home may become more self-reliant. The service member may discover inner resources they did not know they had. View changes as positive factors that will likely add to your relationship. Reassure each other that regardless of any changes, your marriage will stay as strong as ever. Determine methods. Determine how you will stay connected with each other by email, letters, etc. It is reassuring, too, to know beforehand how often you will be in contact. We really want to be mindful, though, that there will be times when commands will turn off communication. They like to call this going black or River City for an undisclosed period. So, partners, do not be alarmed if you do not hear from your service member for weeks or more at a time. Sometimes communication will be received but not sent, or vice versa. So we really want to plan how we're going to manage these silent periods. For example, you could start a journal to share with each other once communication is restored. We also really want to be careful in this communication to talk a little bit about OPSEC, or the operational security, because it's very important that we understand we're not to disclose any sensitive information, not on the phone, not on the internet, not via email, newsletters, text message. And the sensitive information includes, but is not limited to, so unit mission, including number of personnel, the ship or troop movement, so any location and times of deployment, unit morale or personal problems, security procedures, port calls, homecoming dates. If you're ever unsure about sharing information, it's better not to share it. And this is also something you could talk with your command ombudsman about to make sure that we're sharing the appropriate information. So the third section, the stage 3, is emotional disorganization. During this stage, many feel disorganized, depressed, or restless. The service member may feel an initial sense of relief, followed by guilt, while the partner at home may feel overwhelmed as they face total responsibility of family affairs. Some may become stuck in this stage, which can cause problems throughout the remainder of the deployment and beyond. If you find yourself stuck in this stage, remember you are not alone. Reach out to your personal support system. So this could be shipmates, their chain of command, You could reach out to the Command Ombudsman, the chaplain, family readiness group, your neighbors, your circle of friends, whoever your support system is. So one of the most powerful things we can do before having to separate is to focus on these positive aspects of our journey and refer to them whenever we're feeling down. So we want to give you a couple seconds, a little bit of time to come up with a list of positive aspects of deployment. So go ahead and try to think of a few things that are positive. So some of these things that you might be thinking of is maybe accomplishing a new goal, becoming closer to extended family, strengthening your relationship with your children, even advance or progress in the military career, achieving personal growth, appreciate each other, receive additional income, and even save money. So this is also a great time for you to take out those 3 things that we wrote down that we really like about our partner. So if you're watching this with your partner, we want you to exchange your 3 items and share with each other the 3 things that you really like about each other. If your partner isn't watching this with you, you could always share this with them at a later time. These 3 things are also really great to take with you on deployment, so to share them. So your partner takes what you wrote and you take what your partner wrote, and you get to hold on to it throughout the deployment. So if you're having a really rough day, you can take the time to look and think, oh, my partner really likes my sense of humor and they really appreciate my kind heart. Things like that. So it's really helpful. And it is scientifically proven that focusing on the positive and taking the time to appreciate each other and expressing gratitude will do the following. So it helps us to strengthen our relationships, improve our physical and psychological health, enhance our empathy for each other, reduce anxiety, help us sleep better, build up your self-esteem, increase mental strength. So let's make some goals. One positive aspect of deployment is the opportunity to grow closer as a couple by creating some goals for your relationship and family, such as better communication, intimacy, building trust, expressing more thankfulness, injecting more humor in your life together, setting financial goals, or increasing your spirituality as a couple. Some of you may already know what you would like to work toward as a couple, and some of you may need time to talk and think about your goals. So for the next 30 seconds, we're going to let you brainstorm some ideas. This is just brainstorming, so you don't have to commit to any of the things that you're thinking of, but the objective is for us to really start talking and thinking about what we want to accomplish throughout this deployment and how to feel connected as a family. Okay, so now that you have the goals, we want you to hold on to them. So not just setting goals for you as a couple, but also any other personal goals. So in addition, for those in a relationship, it's also a good idea for us while we're apart to really pursue some of our personal goals. So these could be education, career advancement, health and wellness, hobbies, and or spirituality. And some of you may have already been thinking about what you would want to do for yourself. Perhaps you want to accomplish taking more classes, even being able to work out more, or take the time to work on some old goals that you've had. So whatever the case, take turns with your partner sharing what you want to accomplish personally throughout this deployment. So we really encourage you to share these with your partner because it's really great to have your partner to encourage you and to keep track of these goals. I know personally my spouse and I have been sharing our personal goals throughout deployment, and it helps us to encourage each other and see what we're accomplishing separately, but also feeling connected and supporting each other to accomplish these and create goals as a couple as well. So when it comes to goals, we want to make it a mission to take care of ourselves and each other before, during, and after deployment. So here's some tips. Communicate, communicate, and communicate. Really take the time to discuss your feelings. Establish and maintain a support network. Set short-term and long-term goals. Remember that any self-improvements you make will also help improve your relationship. Get involved. Advance your career, volunteer, or even join a support group. Get plenty of rest, eat well, exercise, and find some quiet time just for you. These are just a few ways that we can participate in self-care and make sure that we're keeping not only our own self-care and gas tanks full, but also our relationship and as a couple. Taking care of ourselves helps us to support and take care of each other, to be there for each other and be the support system that we need. So far, we've discussed the emotional cycle of deployment. We've also reflected on positive aspects of deployment and even working on both our relationship and personal goals. So to help us best prepare for deployment, you should also work together on what we're going to call the pass down. This is where you determine what areas of responsibility are going to shift to the other person and really provide a thorough review to help them prepare to take on these new tasks. So some areas of responsibility can include the children's schedule, finances, bills, medical, household, automobile, insurance, important documents, emergency contact information. Although we will not have time to prepare a pass down in this video, we really want you to have a jump start. So really take the time to really go through the checklist for pre-deployment, as well as taking the time to talk about these things and knowing where important documents are, knowing when the insurances are due, knowing which insurance if you are stationed overseas here in Yokosuka. So helping us to really prepare for it. Another great resource for this is the Deployment Support Handbook, that if you type in Google Deployment Support Handbook, or you can always reach out to us at Fleet and Family, and we're happy to provide you with the PDF of the information, and it will help you with the pass down and setting up all the information you should make sure you know and are prepared for before deployment. At the beginning of this workshop, we gave you a list that represented everything with deployment and really trying to set up a successful deployment. So we want to make your deployment journey a time really of opportunity by applying the different actions and behaviors on this list and incorporate everything we learned today. So really taking the time to prepare, have a positive attitude, get to know our friends, trust, communicate, get involved, make sure we're having fun, setting those goals, de-stressing, and making sure that we're asking for help when needed. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's really a sign of resiliency. And there's lots of different resources. Maybe you want to reach out to your command ombudsman, your family readiness group. You can always reach out to us at Fleet and Family Service Center, as well as the chaplain and the chaplain services, and lots of other great resources available on base or even in your own personal support system. I really want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video today and learn a little bit more about deployment and how to help us, a team and a couple, prepare for this deployment ahead. So if you have any questions or would like more information, please feel free to reach out to us. Here is our DSN phone number, our number from a Japanese phone line, our email address, as well as our Facebook information. So please feel free to give us a follow or go like us. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Hope you have a great day. Thank you.